Welcome to another beautiful day on planet Earth. What a blessing to be alive. And another day of Dose of Did You Know, where inspiring, intriguing, unique individuals come to talk about how love and life got them to where they are today. I am your host, Danny Rocco, and with me is a beautiful friend of mine, Miss Carol. How are you?
I am fantastic today. Thank you so much, Danny, for having me here today again. We did this about 6 months ago, but things have changed dramatically since 6 months ago.
Everybody that I feel that comes on the show, because they just have that within them, you got to do updates because life is moving, life is changing, and I like to see where people were, then where they are going, and then, I got to keep up with you. And I'm loving your red pop of color. Red is my favorite color. I love it.
Well, I had to dress the season, and of course, my mama always wore her red lipstick, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, we were just talking about that. But before we get going, because we were having some very rich conversation before we started, and man, God is perfectly placing things in my view so much lately, and just you being here, the conversations we were having, what was on my heart this morning, and it's all perfectly aligned, perfectly placed. I do have to give a quick shout out to Angelo, who's watching, and I will see you on Sunday. Can't wait. But Carol, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I am an energetic, on fire woman. Oh my gosh. I have two beautiful daughters. I've been married for 46 years, so you know that has to be like a really work in progress. I have had some challenges along the way, I'm sure you know. And then I have a beautiful, beautiful granddaughter that I adore. But how did I wake up one day and be this empowerment coach? For 14 years, I was a preschool teacher. I was coaching kids and I loved it. And in the 12th year, I was invited to Toastmasters. And when I was invited to Toastmasters, everything shifted. I had the mantra of saying, yes, I can on everything. And I just started saying yes and yes and yes. And I really found as I was doing my speeches, I really enjoyed empowering people with personal growth. Mm-hmm. So I started going to workshops, started doing all that stuff. And then I said, okay, guys, I got two of my friends from Toastmasters. Let's do a workshop. It was called Design Your Life. And inside that workshop was so powerful. And at the end, there was 5 people that came up to me and said, Carol, I want to coach with you. Boom! My business was birthed. I'm doing what I absolutely love. I love, love, love to empower people. I really help people really become their best friend. Because if we're not our best friend, nothing's going to work. And so really the power within inside.
Shoot, I got to say, like, I know you've told me this before, but I must have forgotten it. 47 years. That is a work in progress because we are not made to just be where we are and stay where we are and not, and the relationships that we had yesterday or 10 years ago are going to be the same. So you have had practice with one of the most intimate, right? One of the most intimate relationships for 47 years. So of course you'd be an amazing empowerment coach because you've got these great tool sets for, that you've already developed. God, 47 years. Like I'm like chewing on a piece of paper that is like, how the hell did you do that? I'm all like fidgeting.
Oh my gosh.
So I just like put a comment up here. Look, I learned how to do something. Okay.
I love it.
Let me take that down and get back on there. So we were talking about pain, the hurt, the ickiness earlier. And we both agree and we both speak on this. That is where growth happens within, because the outcome on the other side of that, those are the lessons, lessons that you learn. But how do you get through that, like that ickiness, that part of it without going into isolation, without getting depressed, without creating negative talk within yourself? Because it's so easy when you're feeling down to be like, I have these thoughts like, what do I do? Like, does it even matter? What do like, I can't even like today, I can't even have like a sentence come out of my mouth without forgetting what I'm saying or getting sidetracked,
Yes.
right? Like, so, what do you do?
What I really help my clients do is train their brain, really condition the brain. Let me tell you what I started about 3 years ago, a morning routine. It's a solid morning routine. I work out every day. And yes, I'm a young 65-year-old, but I work out every
You
day.
look good. Okay, let's go back for a second. Like, see how squirrely I am today?
That's okay. Let's go with the flow.
How do you get your skin like that?
Well, it's called Monet. My daughter sells it to me.
All right. Well, there you go. The secrets and happiness.
No, you know what? It's really the secret is not, really thinking on what you're supposed to be thinking. When it doesn't bring you value, you have to just throw it out. And that's what I've been training my brain to do. Sometimes I'll even have to go, shh, when I start, spinning, which we all do, because thoughts are always coming into us right or left. But really the morning routine, I would say, is the most valuable thing that I give my clients. If my client was here, Gabby, she would tell you the reason she's so successful at her weight loss and really empowering herself was because of her morning routine. So there's 5 things I recommend people to do every morning, and it's just really helped me train my brain so well. It's been so good. Let me tell you the example. It's been super cold here in California, 45 degrees. Maybe it's not be cold for some of you, but that's cold for me.
That's cold for California. That's cold. Just
straight
up cold.
But my brain said the other day, I started taking a couple steps. I'm like, oh, this is too cold. I'm going to go back. And I said, no, I made a commitment. And see, really what your morning routine does, it helps you give focus throughout the day. Because if you can win the morning, you can win the day. And so that's really key. But if it really depends on how much you want it. It really boils down to, do you want to say what you want to say? Do you want to do what you want to do? What is it? Though sometimes we say we want this, but we don't put the right actions with it. So, and it depends on the time that we get something, depends on how fully invested you're in, not in your career, but in you. So really, you've got to look at you. And really, I think what I really help my clients do is really give them awareness of where they're falling short, and not to beat themselves up, but to love on them and strengthen them. Wouldn't you agree, Danny?
I mean, definitely. You can't, if I never looked at my weakness, like all these weaknesses that kind of come up, or flaws, or when I'm getting off path from where I want to be, how am I going to make a change? If I think I'm perfect, then actually perfection is probably a definition of death, right? You standing still, you're not moving forward anymore. Right. So when you look in and do a little like come into Jesus moment with yourself,
like an inventory,
that love place. I feel like I have a lot of those coming to Jesus moments lately, where I'm saying like, is this making me happy? So here's one, Carol, is this making me happy? No, it's not.
Oh, that's
I
good.
know what is making me happy. I know what I want. Is it selfish to go after it?
And see, those are the kind of thoughts, though, that we have to stop thinking. Because sometimes we do think it's selfish when it's not. It's selfish not to be obligated to go out and be all you were created to be. That's selfishness. If you really love what you do, are you going to stand on top of the rooftop and shout it out? I am going to shout it out that I am an empowerment coach and I empower others to be who they were created to be. It's just as simple that, if you want to ever coach with me, I keep your feet to the fire. Right now, I'm keeping somebody's feet to the fire. She just texted me this morning and she's, going after goals, and just, it just lights me up. What is it that lights you up? What have you always wanted to do, but you keep hesitating? Hesitating is going to keep you right where you're at. Mm-hmm. So really think about that and really align yourself with the habits. I mean, habits are boring. Sometimes they seem really mundane, but if you do them every day, something that you do daily is really going to be a powerful thing for you. And you need to be around people like Danny and I to really, be around a good, solid foundation of people.
Oh, definitely.
People that are coming, are going to pull you up. We're not, like Danny says, we're not always going to be up. We're going to be in their down places. But see, here's what I really want to get clear. If you can take this away, but it's the valleys that make you rich.
Yeah.
It isn't the mountaintops. And this is what happens. People go in the valleys and like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. And they give up and they don't let it develop them. I've been married for forever. And,
basically, yes.
I've had to do some developing. And I can say right now, if my husband and I get in an argument, we get it solved a lot quicker than we do because we're men and women. We're going to argue.
Yeah. Let's not be delusional. Do you think, I want to go back to habits because we have these habits and some are great for us and some are not great for us, but they develop, habits develop. So kind of like as simple as I make my bed every morning. It gives me I don't know. I just like it's crisp and I like to pull it tight and I like to fluff my pillows and right. And I do it even in a hotel,
Wow.
because I do, it's something about it. Now, the point of this story is not to know my weird, little issues that I have about making beds, is that when I first started making the bed and I was like, I'm going to do this because it made me feel good, accomplished, right away in the morning. It was not that good. It was just like pull it up, pull the covers back up, and there we go. But now I like to slide my hand across it and make the comforter all nice and tight, it's a prize, So my habit of making the bed evolved. So the point of my whole bed story is that our good habits and our bad habits evolve. So they're not really boring because they're constantly changing, and we should keep in check with, is it good or is it bad? And do you think, Carol, to how we can keep in check of is it a good one or is it a bad one? Because sometimes those bad ones can look like good ones, but they're not bringing you. So would you say asking yourself, is this bringing me value, or is this aligned with my morals? Or is there a question that you have that you can ask yourself to kind of give you that little self-check? Is this habit good and leading me down where I need to go? Or is this habit bad? What would you say?
I would say when you're in tune with yourself and you know what you exactly want, you're really clear on what you want, whether it's good or bad. We all do. We know where we should be going, say if
what if you're confused? Because sometimes that's where the lies come in.
That's true. That's why when you start doing the habits and train your brain to think properly, we are what we speak of ourselves. We are our language. Whatever we're saying to ourselves is where we're at. So I think when you really fine tune and train your brain to think on a positive note, it's super easy to think negative. It's a lot harder to think positive. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And you know what I say a lot?
The work begins. You just have to be, I like to say sometimes you have to go to war with yourself. You have to go, it's so easy to get into that negative, but, and it's, when you can just, you have to it's almost like a no compromise. My morning routine is a no compromise. It has helped me, this far, and I'm just going to continue doing it. God willing that I can get up and do all the things I can do.
Right.
But, it's really important that the mindset, and that's a lot what we do about with what I do is we really work on what are you saying to yourself? Where is it what you want to go? And my clients have told me that they've gotten a lot more awareness because of the way that I teach them and train them to really train themselves. One girl, she was able to quit smoking, after 30 days, but it wasn't all of a sudden she quit smoking. We started working and training her brain prior. And I didn't even know she smoked, but then she finally confessed that she did. I said, okay. And she says, I want to get rid of this, but she decided. Yeah. So that's number one, she decided. And then she also decided she was going to do the habits that, was going to get her there. So it's all about a decision. Just,
I like that. It's about
yeah,
a decision. You know,
yeah,
those were the two things that I pulled from what you just said is it's a decision, right? We have a decision. Are
yeah,
we going to love ourselves? Are we going to do actions that are going to move us forward or not? Plain and
right.
simple. Like we're very simplistic. We just make ourselves more complicated than we
We
are. So
really do. We really
I don't know
do.
why. I don't know why. We're crazy. So decisions. And then the second one was what you say about yourself or what you speak out loud, because it goes both ways. I'm like,
Exactly.
speak into existence what you want. If you say, like, I know I will one day live in a warm area, I know I will because I speak it out loud and I
Come
move.
on down.
I'm like excited. But I also say things that I've been saying since I was little, which aren't true. I'll say something like, oh, it's just like a blonde, stupid moment. Or am I talking like, right? Like I say those things about my intelligence, but factuality is like I have a very, very high IQ. Okay, that's the fact. But I speak about being like just silly and ditzy. So even that's like a simple little thing. We need to be mindful of the like little quirks that we have.
Exactly, exactly. And I really too is like this sounds like a lot of work, but you can enjoy it. Go out and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Just go enjoy it and don't take sometimes you take yourself too seriously. I know I have, but I think one thing I've learned through all this is just really be my authentic self. So I decided to do something really daring, and I became a elite skydiver. Now, Danny, I would have never done that. But see, I got my thinking right. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I've always kind of wanted to. And then when I saw my friend Brenda do it on Facebook, I'm like, if Brenda can do it, I can do it. And sure enough, a couple years ago, I became an elite skydiver. And it was funny because I got my mindset a week ahead of time, said, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And how I was able to do it, I had more excitement than fear. And that was the only way I was able to do it. And I conditioned my mindset you can do it. So I did. And it feels good to go be on the other side of fear. Nothing feels better in life when you can, it's that middle part that's the hard part. But
Yeah.
once you get past that middle part, yeah, and you do something, you're like, okay, what's next? Right?
Well, you do things right. You do something when you're training in anything, your muscles or your mind. When you do it first times, it's really scary and hard and yucky, and then each time it gets a little easier. So, oh my gosh, if you do something as extreme as skydiving, I feel like the next time you have anything that causes any sort of uncertainty or fear, you're so much further along because you did something so like in your face hard. Man, maybe that's what we should all do. Pick like the scariest thing and
I know. And just go
then
for it.
just do it. And then everything else will kind of be like a little easier, a little smoother sailings.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, there's a girl that I follow. You might even know her. Her name is Danielle Delgado. She said a quote to me, and it just resonated with me. And she said, who is losing because you are not winning? Because see, when you choose to win, everybody around you is winning. And that's when it gets exciting. When you start seeing not just my clients, but my family, my girls right now are crushing their businesses. They just joined in network marketing. They're crushing it and they're getting online. It's almost like I gave them permission, go online, because I'm on Facebook Live almost every day. But who is that? Think about that. That was life-changing for me, that quote. And I'm like, okay, it's time to get all invested in who, not my business, but me, and go out and serve the world. Sometimes we think, that we have to have it all together. All we have to do is serve. Serve and give content and create this amazing life for yourself, and things will just come. They'll just come to you. And when you just become your authentic self and just learn to dance in life, I just want, don't take it so seriously, but yet you do take it seriously. I mean, if there's a thought that comes in your mind, just kick it out. It sounds simple, but see, when you start doing it, it will condition your mind, and you'll be so glad you did. I'm so glad 3 years ago I decided to do this morning routine, because it has changed my life.
So what do you think? So my friend Travis out here, he says, Carol, do you mean to say that people are sometimes afraid of being successful?
Oh, yes. It's a big one. Fear of success, fear of the unknown. Because it depends too where we're at too. Sometimes, we don't think that we can have it.
Right.
So that's another mindset you have to change. If you
Is it
don't,
that we don't think we can have it, or we don't think we deserve it, or
we
is it?
don't think we're worthy. We don't think we're a lot of. I know that for me, I didn't think I was worthy for many years because of some of the upbringing that I had in my schooling, and I have a whole story about that. But so
Yeah.
I really had to press in on really knowing that I am worthy, I am able, and it's
Right.
a process every day. But you got to wake up excited about life.
I
You know,
think you just said it right. You just said you just got to wake up.
you
Like
just gotta,
just wake up
yeah, and I'm here to help you wake up if you need me.
wake up. Oh my gosh.
People who hang out with me win.
Seriously, Carol, time just went like that. The show is over. I know. That's what I just
Oh my
said.
God, I love your energy, girl. You are doing an amazing job on this. I mean, every time I fly by and see you posted, you are like on fire with your guests.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me. This has been delightful.
You were so welcome. And I do have to give so this is how we met. They just like
That's right.
Together, we are co-authors of a book with us, number one on bestseller on Amazon. So this is actually how Carol and I met when we wrote our chapters in this book, and then we met in person in LA for the premiere of the book launch.
And we clicked right away. It's like almost like we knew each other. It was like so cool.
You are one of those people in my life that you met and sorry, you stuck with me.
Yes. Oh my
God. The way it is. But before I let you go and finish your day off, thank you for starting your morning with me. Well, I know you had your routine, so however far in your morning, in this moment right now.
I get up at 4:30, girl. It's long done.
Oh dear God! Oh dear God. We woke up at the same time, separate time zones. But in this moment right now, Carol, what does love mean to you?
Everything. Love, oh my gosh. Love what you do. Love yourself. Love your family. Love is so special.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything. It's the base, the baseline.
It's the base. It's the base. But, just love yourself is the most important, I think. Because if you're always being hard on yourself, that's really where the issue starts. Yeah. And again, like I say, you can do anything you want. You just have to just put one foot in front of the other, and you have to desire it. And maybe it's even something you don't think you can do. Like one day I want to speak on a stage of 3,000 people. I haven't done that yet. And I know we've got all this going on, but that's a goal. So that's always in my vision, so because what I want to empower, 100,000 people or more in the world. And then maybe that's even a little number. Maybe I should go a lot more.
Oh boy,
only God knows.
Just bubble it. That's right. Just see what happens. Carol, it was amazing seeing your beautiful face. Thank you so much for today. And I know. And to everybody else out there that is watching, remember, as always, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.